Hi everyone, I'm David Winter and I'm the president and one of the founders of Canuck Play, and thought I'd try something a little different this time and do a video development update as opposed to our written blog that we have. I just wanted to give you a quick update as to where we are with the development of Maximum Football 2018, but I also wanted to go back in the Wayback Machine a little bit and talk about some titles that we've done in the past. So in terms of the 2018 title, we're progressing towards our certification date on the 14th of May. So I plan on pushing to Microsoft and Sony on the 14th, builds that we'll use to start our certification process. It takes roughly 6 weeks to do a certification. Depends on how well it goes. For Microsoft, we've done certification in the past, so it should be a little quicker. Sony, as a studio, we've not done Sony before, so we're budgeting the full 6 weeks to go through cert, but it might be sooner, it might be a week or two longer. We have to go by ear a little bit with that. So what we're doing right now is a stretch goal. We've got some time on the schedule left to accommodate a stretch goal, which was a uniform editor in game. Last year's title, Canadian Football 17, the uniform editing for the PC edition was done with just editing PNG files. This year we're putting an editor in the game itself for use on the console. Obviously on the console you can't edit those PNG files, but we're trying to build a editor in game. So the back end is completed. I've built the system to save and load content. The game right now is generating uniforms on the fly from that data. So if you change the jersey color in the editor from say red to blue, the game will automatically update from red to blue. So there's no more PNG files that you have to worry about. You just use the editor. But it's probably 4 or 5 days away from being something that we could, get into the game and start using in the game. Right now it's all back-end infrastructure, but it's progressing pretty well. So that's where we are with the uniform editor. That's where we are with the certification process. And so what I'd like to do right now is talk a little bit about Maximum Football from the past. Many people that are talking to us now about Maximum Football 2018 have never heard of the older titles. So this is Maximum Football 1. It came out in 2005. So retroactively, I guess this is Maximum Football 05. It was PC only, and it allowed you to play Canadian football, American pro football, American college football, American high school football, and indoor football. Just 8-on-8 in an arena environment, and it had all those rules you can mix and match. So you could potentially, if you wanted to, play 8-on-8 football on the big Canadian field and have fair catches or turn fair catches off, or use the rouge or not use the rouge, or any combination of rule sets you could mix and match to your heart's desire. You had full uniform editing capabilities. The uniforms were open source. You could just change those, do whatever you wanted to with those uniforms. The roster database was was a format called JET, and it was open source. There was no password or anything. If you had an Excel spreadsheet editor, you could open this file and change the rosters however you liked. So it was pretty much a sandbox of football. And then in 2007, we released Maximum Football 2, retroactively, I suppose, Maximum Football 2007. And again, it was PC only. And I want to show you the manual for this game, because a lot of people don't really realize how in-depth the game was. So the manual is 74 pages, and you can see that it used an Xbox 360 controller, and I want to show you some of the play designer itself had almost 25 pages of this manuals just for the play designer. So you could have all kinds of roster editors, and there was all the season statistics. You could play basically an unlimited number of seasons with the various leagues that you could use. You could create your own leagues. You could create your own. You could create your own playoff structure. It was, again, another sandbox, but this one was even larger than the one that came out in 2005. So I just wanted to sort of mention that a little bit about the history of the game. Unfortunately, due to the scope of a title like this, combined with trying to get that kind of scope onto a console platform, we're not going to have all of those features in Maximum Football 2018. We need to take a much more stepped approach to getting those types of features into the game. One of the things that is commented on about the earlier versions of Maximum Football is the visual quality. Yeah, it wasn't very good at the time. One of the things that I asked people to keep in mind was that in 2005, there was no such thing as the Unity game engine. It did not exist. The Unreal Engine existed in its infancy. It had a $100,000 licensing fee attached to it per seat. So every version, every person that wanted to use it was another chunk of money. So really not an option. Maximum Football 2005 and 2007 was written, the graphic engine that I used, I wrote. So not only was I creating the game engine of football, processing the downs, processing, moving of the ball back and forth and penalties and all those things that are a game of football, I actually had to write the graphic display system, I had to create the animation system, I had to create a system that loaded shaders. So all those things that were involved in drawing a picture to the screen, I had to build that too. So with the advent of commercial game engines like Unity, Unreal, others, Maximum Football 18 uses Unity. That has simplified the process by about half. I no longer have to worry about trying to make shaders work. I just have to write the shaders, and as long as I'm following the rules, they work. Now, one of the challenges is that we've got different platforms, and some of the technology for Unity changes based on the platform. A shader that you write on the Xbox One and the PC doesn't necessarily work on the Sony PS4. They have different languages, they do things very differently. So a lot of the materials and shaders and things that I wrote last year didn't work on the PS4. I had to go back and rewrite a bunch of those. So there's a little bit of duplication of code, but it's not too bad. It takes a few days to sort it out. But that's very technical. Probably a lot of people don't really care. But that's kind of it. That's really all I wanted to do today, was to talk to you a little bit about where we are. We're pushing forward with the player uniform editor, the team uniform editor. As a stretch goal, we are on track to submit our builds on the 14th of May, which is 2 weeks from now-ish. Depends on when you see the video, I suppose. And really looking forward to seeing what people think of this year's version of the game. We've been bringing people into the studio to play the game, and the feedback that we've had is really, really positive. So I really hope that you'll like what we see, and follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and hopefully you'll be able to do one of these again in a few days when we're submitting. Thanks very much.